Thank you for visiting my channel today. Please subscribe and enable notifications so that you will not miss any update on this channel. The most complete version of the Greek creation myth that survived is a poem called the Theogony, also known as the birth of the gods, by a poet named Hesiod, who lived in the late 8th or early 7th century. Not much is known about Hesiod except that his dad lost of all his money when his ship sank, and his brother tried to rob him of his inheritance. These two factors may account for the tune of what you are about to watch today. In the beginning there was chaos. Darkness covered the earth. Hesiod's creation story doesn't involve something being created from nothing. There was stuff or chaos, but it was shapeless, mixed up and dark. Then came the first generation of gods. After chaos, 5 divinities came into being and began giving shape to things, separating the model into specific places and times, and to set the stage for more creation. The divinities were Gaia, the Mother Earth, Tartarus, the underworld, Erebus, the darkness that covers the underworld, night, darkness that covers the earth, and Eros, love. Night and Erebus got together and had some children, Hemera, day, and Phos, light, and a cheery set of quintuplets, doom, death, misery, deceit, and discord. Discord later gave birth to the following other forces: murder, slaughter, battle, and crime. Then the earth was born. Earth held the sky up above itself, or rather herself, because the earth, called Gaia, was female, and the sky, called Uranus, Earth's child, was male. Gaia and Uranus had a bunch of kids. First they had a bunch of monsters. Then, perhaps, having worked out the kinks in the system, they produced some gods known as Titans. They admitted that our children are real monsters. Gaia and Uranus' first 3 kids were monsters with 100 hands and 50 heads each, which must have been a bit surprising to their parents. The next 3 were the Cyclops, giants with 1 eye in the middle of their foreheads. They were as big as mountains and immensely strong. The 3 Cyclops were Brontes, Tundra, Stirrups, Lightning Flash, Edges, Shining Guy. Eventually, these 3 would get jobs manufacturing the thunderbolts that Zeus, who would later be their nephew but hadn't been born at this time yet, used to blow up Volsk. The Titans and the second generation of gods. Uranus and Gaia had many more children, but their most famous batch of kids was the Titans. They were big and strong. Uranus hated all these kids, and as each one was born, he shoved it back up into Gaia. Gaia didn't like that. Nevertheless, the Titans, their 6 sons and daughters, were Oceanus, god of the sea; Thetis, sister and wife of Oceanus; Hyperion, god of the sun; Thea, sister and wife of Hyperion; Themis, and earth goddess; Rhea, and earth goddess; Mnemosyne, goddess of memory; Kronos, the brightest, strongest, and cleverest of all; Lepettus. No notable responsibility was given. Also, Queos, Phoebe, and Creus had no notable responsibilities. These Titans were the generation before the better-known Olympian gods, Zeus and others. Gaia's revenge and the prodigal son. It is known that Gaia was understandably mad about Uranus shoving her kids back up into her body. They were still alive in there, so she asked her other children, the Cyclops and the Titans, to help her out. One of her sons, the Titans Kronos, agreed to attack his dad for her. Gaia made a huge sickle out of flint and graved it into Kronos with some pretty explicit instruction. When Uranus came to have sex with Gaia, he found a nasty surprise waiting for him. Kronos cut off his father's genitals and threw them into the sea. From the blood were born several more monsters, the giants and the Furies. As Uranus' genitals fell into the water, the sea foamed up like certain headache remedies, and the foam produced the goddess Aphrodite. Her name means gift of the sea. She floated around in the sea for a while and then came to shore on the islands of Cyprus, which is why she is often called the Cyprian Aphrodite. Then the third generation of gods, the Olympians. The third generation of Greek gods were known as the Olympian gods because they eventually made their home on Mount Olympus. After Kronos castrated his father Uranus, Kronos set himself up as king of heaven. He married his sister, the Titan Rhea, and they had a bunch of kids. Like his father, Kronos didn't want all of his kids to live. He had heard the prophecy that one of his sons would dethrone him, and he had no intention of allowing that to happen. So, every time Rhea had a baby, he swallowed it whole. Rhea, like Gaia, wasn't at all happy to see all of her children eaten by their father. So, she did what you would expect a young bride to do. She asked her parents Gaia and Uranus for help. Gaia and Uranus had some experience in these matters and apparently had gotten over any lasting bitterness from their own marital difficulties. So they came up with a plan. When Rhea had her sixth child, Zeus, she smuggled him away into the islands of Crete and gave her husband a baby-sized rock wrapped in blanket instead. He swallowed the stone and never gave it another thought. The first among equals, Zeus. After his mother smuggled him away, Zeus grew up safely in Crete. The nymphs gave him milk from a magical goat named Amalthea, and the curates, minor gods who had the job of protecting him, banged their spears against their swords every time baby Zeus cried, and that way Kronos never heard him cry. Zeus had no particular reason to leave his dad, so he got together with his grandmother, Gaia, and they made Kronos throw up the children he had eaten. The first thing Kronos tossed was the stone Rhea had given him instead of Zeus. The other 5 babies had grown up in his belly, and they emerged as full-fledged deities. These deities were the Olympians: Hera, god of marriage; Poseidon, god of the sea; Hades, god of the underworld; Hestia, goddess of the hearth; and Demeter, goddess of crops and harvests. During his fight with his father, Zeus cut off Kronos' genitals, like father, like son, which dropped into the sea just as Uranus' private part had done. After castrating his father, Zeus bound the Titans in Tartarus, the underworld. He sentenced Atlas to hold up the sky on his shoulders. Gaia had one more baby, the monster Typhoon. Typhoon had 100 heads and was covered with flame, but Zeus by now had taken control of thunder and lightning and shot down Typhoon with his thunderbolt. Typhoon's hopes of terrorizing the universe were ended, but he still needed a job, so he moved to Sicily, where he supplied the volcanic magma for Mount Athena. After this, the giants, the ones born when Kronos cut off Uranus' testicles, rebelled against Zeus' control. Zeus and his siblings, headed by the hero Heracles, beat the giants and sent them down to the underworld. Now, Zeus and his brothers and sisters were the ultimate rulers of heaven and earth. Zeus really showed his stuff in the way he escaped the fate of his father, Kronos, and his grandfather, Uranus. After the dust had settled from the battle with the Titans, Zeus married Metis, a goddess who was the personification of cunning intelligence. Like his father before him, Zeus received a prophecy that his wife would bear a child who would become king of the gods. Instead of waiting for the child to be born, Zeus was proactive and swallowed his wife. The child was born after all, but it came out of Zeus' head, thus avoiding the important detail of the prophecy that Metis would bear the child. The baby was Athena, the wise goddess who, although she was daddy's girl, had a lot of her mother's cunning intelligence in her. This is the creation story and the origin of the Greek goddess. What are your thoughts on this myth? Kindly drop your thoughts in comment section. And don't forget to subscribe and enable notification by clicking the bell so that you will not miss any update on this channel. Remember to like and share this video with your friends and family on social media and elsewhere. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Peace.
Let's go.